Hello everyone, this is Heroes Trivia, and today we're starting the final act of the Fall of Wei Let's Talk Lore series with Act 5, titled Sima Zhao's Intent, where we will look at Emperor Cao Mao's final stand against Sima Zhao's control of the Wei court, and the political aftermath of Cao Mao's death. And for episode 1 here, we'll pick up directly from the conclusion of Act 4, where Sima Zhao had just successfully put down Zhuge Dan's rebellion in Huainan around late February of 258. Now, just because Zhuge Dan was killed and the city of Shouchun was captured, it does not mean the campaign is finished, as it would take another 2-month time for Sima Zhao to deal with the cleanup. First, there was the matter of how to deal with the surrendered rebel troops. Former Wei soldiers were largely spared, split up, and reorganized into various provincial garrison forces throughout the kingdom. Wu soldiers were a bit problematic, as most Wei officers did not trust these troops, and some even suggested just burying them alive. Sima Zhao rejected this plan in favor of sparing them to showcase the mercy and tolerance befitting their great kingdom. And for a time, Sima Zhao even considered allowing them to return safely back to Wu, but after much consideration, the Wu soldiers were collectively relocated to work on Tuntian farms in the north. Aside from dealing with the rebel soldiers, the defense of the Yang province also needed a reorganization, again, after yet another rebellion. This time, Sima Zhao would pick General Wangji to become the new general who conquers the east, in charge of the Yang province garrison forces. Now, an interesting side story in regards to this assignment is that not long after Wangji was appointed, his elderly mother passed away. And when I say elderly, she must have been at least in her late 80s, because Wangji was already 69 years old at the time. The problem with her death is that by Confucian tradition, as her eldest born son, Wangji should temporarily resign from all his posts to guard her tomb for 3 years. Now, for Sima Zhao, this was unacceptable, as he saw Wangji as the perfect candidate to be in charge of the Yang province, especially during this turbulent transition period. So Sima Zhao, along with the Wei imperial court, decided to hide the news of Wangji's mother's death from him, and to make up for this, the Wei imperial court posthumously gave the title of Administrator of Beihai to Wangji's long-deceased father, Wang Bao, before giving his mother a grand funeral and burying her alongside her husband. Now, this posthumous title was meant to help elevate Wangji's clan, as their clan was from Donglai, which is situated right next to Beihai Commandery. But all of this does not change the fact that this was exceedingly cruel, as Wangji's father, Wang Bao, had passed away when Wangji was still a child. So his mother had raised him as a widow, with the help of his uncles for all these years, and in the end, Wangji would be denied the chance to even know about, much less attend, her funeral. And while Wangji would be trusted to be placed in charge of the Yang province right now, a year later, he would be reassigned back to the Jin province, and from that point on, the Yang province would never actually receive another prefect assignment for the rest of the Wei dynasty, as after 3 rounds of rebellions, no one was ever trusted with this position again, until the formation of the Jin dynasty. And speaking of Jin, in May of 258, shortly after the army finally returned back to Luoyang, Emperor Cao Mao, who spent the last 10 months with the army alongside Sima Zhao, offered Sima Zhao the nobility title of Duke of Jin, along with the knight bestowment. Now, Duke was a title that was rarely offered during this time period, as it was not only a high-level nobility title, it also allowed for the creation of your own dukedom with its own governing court. The last person to receive a dukedom was none other than Cao Cao, who was given the title of Duke of Wei in May of 213, exactly 45 years ago. Now, naturally, given the association with Cao Cao and usurpation, Sima Zhao turned down the offer. According to the Book of Jin, Emperor Cao Mao would insist and offer the title 9 times, only for Sima Zhao to politely and humbly refuse 9 times as well. Of course, like many stories from the Book of Jin that relates to the founding members of the Sima clan, the story here is slightly exaggerated. Polite refusal is a cultural norm in China, but 9 times is simply written as 9 is seen as the supreme number, being the highest single digit number, and a number that is often used in fortune telling to represent the emperor. In reality, Emperor Cao Mao probably offered the dukedom to Sima Zhao for 3 reasons. First, Sima Zhao did just put down rebellion, where Zhuge Dan defected to Wu, so a just reward was needed. Second, Cao Mao wanted Sima Zhao to leave the capital, as he believed there were still enough Wei loyalists at court to maybe right the ship in Sima Zhao's absence. And if Sima Zhao accepted this duke title, then he would have to leave and set up his own separate court within his dukedom in the area around Henei, much like how Cao Cao set up his own court in the city of Ye when he had accepted the Duke of Wei title, while Emperor Liu Xie remained behind in Xuchang. The only difference is Cao Cao had complete control of the military, and Emperor Liu Xie had already lost pretty much all his political capital by this period. It is hard to say if Cao Mao was in a similar situation, but at least Cao Mao himself believed that he still had a puncher's chance against Sima Zhao at this point. Lastly, Cao Mao wanted to expose Sima Zhao's ambition to the world, as if Sima Zhao accepted the duke title and denied bestowment, then given Cao Cao's recent history, everyone would know that usurpation is now officially on the table. So for all these reasons, Sima Zhao turned down the title. And this wasn't the first time that Sima Zhao had turned down a duke title, as all the way back in 256, right after Sima Shi's death, Sima Zhao was offered the title of Duke of Goldu, as he was already the Marquis of Goldu at the time. And for the same reasons, Sima Zhao had already declined it once. The end result of the last promotion attempt was a simple increase of 3 counties worth of tax income to his current Marquis title. And this time, Sima Zhao once again got 3 more counties worth of tax income added to his title, that now totaled an additional 10,000 households worth of tax. Additionally, all of Sima Zhao's sons got nobility titles too. Now, after the conclusion of this political tug of war over the duke title, there would actually be a period of relative peace between the 3 kingdoms from the second half of 258 onward for almost 3 years, as Shu Han halted Jiang Wei's northern expeditions after the disastrous results of his 9th and 10th expeditions at the hands of Deng Ai, resulting in a complete shift of the Shu Han defense strategy in Hanzhong, while at the same time, Wu's regent Sun Chen would first force the abdication of Wu's second emperor Sun Liang in favor of Sun Quan's 6th son, Sun Xiu, only for Sun Xiu to eventually overthrow and kill him, and finally gain independent rule as the 3rd emperor of Wu. And given how much turmoil Wu had gone through during the regencies of Sun Jun and Sun Chen, Sun Xiu opted to focus on internal development and recovery in the early periods of his reign. And all of this afforded Sima Zhao the time and energy to reorganize and reshuffle the Wei regional military forces in his favor, as there will be a huge overhaul of military jurisdiction in 259 that saw the appointment of Sima clan loyalists or supporters such as Zhou Tai to share the command of the Jin province garrison at Xiangyang, Shi Bao to the Yang province, Chen Qian to the Yu province, Zhong Yu to the Xu province, and Song Jun to the Qing province. And with appointments like these, Emperor Cao Mao grew more and more uneasy over Sima Zhao's growing military control, and once again, in April 260, tried to name Sima Zhao as the Duke of Jin, only for Sima Zhao to refuse once again. This time, Cao Mao was not going to take no for an answer, as he had no desire to become another Emperor Liu Xie. And to find out what Cao Mao would do about it, come back next time, as we'll continue our series tomorrow with episode 2 titled The Fighting Emperor. So hopefully you all have enjoyed this episode enough to consider subscribing to the channel for more content on Three Kingdoms history, or simply support the channel by leaving a comment below or just by hitting the like button. And as always, I'll see you all next time. Bye!